Hi, I love the Jurassic Park movies, and recently I sat down and watched all the films in the Jurassic World franchise. I watched all 5 films in one day, just sat down and watched them. And yeah, I have some thoughts about them, and I thought I would share them with you. I will be shooting from the hip with this. I do not have a script, I'm just gonna speak from the heart. I'm also gonna talk for the most part as though you have seen all of the Jurassic World, Jurassic Park films, at least in the past year or so. You know, I'm gonna assume that you have like a vague memory of them, so that when I go like, here's a thing that happened, you're like, oh yeah, I remember when that happened in the film. And if you haven't seen all of the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World films, go do that now. Pause this video, go watch all those films. It'll only take you about 10 hours, so go do that. So I've mentioned before that I used to go to summer camp. At summer camp, when we were laying in our cabins, our cabin counselors would often make us do lows and highs. They would make us go around the cabin at night and be like, what was our low for the day and what was our high for the day? So I thought that's what I could do with these films. So yeah, I am going to go in order of most favorite to least favorite, and I will read you the little blurb from the DVD, and I will give you my high and my low. And maybe to spice it up, I'll go high, low, high, so that we start and end on a high point. Starting up at the top of the list, the best film in the entire franchise, Jurassic Park, released 1993. Here's the DVD blurb. Genetically engineered dinosaurs run amok at a tycoon's island amusement park based on Michael Crichton's novel. This is the best film in the entire franchise. And sure, that might partially be nostalgia, but I did recently rewatch all these films and I tried to be very objective, and like, it is the best one. By a lot, it's the best one. The plotline is super concise and the characters all are interesting and make sense, and everything is really well thought through and fleshed out. And I don't want to be like, it's probably because it was based on a book, but like, yeah, they did have Michael Crichton's novel to work off of. And no, I have not read Michael Crichton's novel. I'm a fake fan, but it is on my Goodreads list of books I want to read this year. So maybe I'll read it later in the year. But yeah, Jurassic Park is the best film. Let's go high, low, high. Well, I love the entire film, but if I have to pick favorite scenes, the first one is going to be when you first hear the Jurassic Park theme. I'm not going to play it because I've already received 1 copyright claim in my life from Jurassic Park. It was on my Redbubble, and it was for these stickers that you can no longer buy because apparently they violated copyright. Also, that copyright claim is how I learned that legally Jurassic World and Jurassic Park are 2 separate franchises, because I've also received a copyright claim from Jurassic World for a video that is on my 2nd YouTube channel. So, link down in the description. You know, the Jurassic Park theme. Iconic. We love John Williams. The scene where they're like in the Jeeps driving and they like pull over to the side of the road and Laura Dern is like, this plant hasn't grown for thousands of years, and Sam Neill's is like, look, Laura Dern, and the Brontosaurus like stands up and is eating the leaves off of the tree, and then it like zooms out and it's got like the big pack of dinosaurs and the instrumental swells, and Sam Neill's is like, they do move in herds, and Jeff Goldblum is like, you crazy son of a bitch, you did it. Love that film so much. It like without fail always makes me just like giddy and smiling like a little kid. If I had the opportunity to watch this film like in theaters on the big screen, in a heartbeat, I want to see that scene specifically on the big screen. You kidding me? Low point of the film. I love this film. I don't have a lot of critiques about it. So like my least favorite scene is when Lex gets sneezed on by the Brontosaurus, Brachiosaurus. Yeah, I don't like that. I think it's gross, so I don't like it. Other high point, because we're going high, low, high, is the Dilophosaurus scene. When the Dilophosaurus comes out of the woods and kills Dennis Nedry, that is my other favorite scene in the film. And you might be going like, Emily, that's very dark, but look, I love that scene. I love that scene. I've always loved the Dilophosaurus. I think it's such a fun dinosaur, and it hasn't been in any of the other films. It is only in Jurassic Park. It gets like a little hologram cameo in Jurassic World, but it's not in any of the other films. What gives? I love the Dilophosaurus. I love him. When I was little, it kind of reminded me of a dog, like the way that it moves and the little noises it makes. I was like, oh, it's like a dog. And I just love him like chirping and coming up to Dennis Nedry, and then the reveal of like the frills and it spits the poison on him and kills him. I love that scene so much. But yeah, Jurassic Park is the best film in the franchise, so we can only go downhill from here. Let's begin the descent into madness. Pause, we're going back to Jurassic Park. One of my favorite shots in any film is in Jurassic Park where Lex and Tim are like inside like the main welcome center, and it cuts to the adults and they're like, there are velociraptors outside the building, but the kids will be safe unless velociraptors can open doors, and then it hard cuts to a velociraptor proceeding to open a door. I love that. It cracks me up so much. Anyways, the second best film in the Jurassic Park franchise, Jurassic Park 2, The Lost Kingdom. This film is very loosely adapted from the sequel book by Michael Crichton, but it's not really. Anyways, here is the DVD blurb on Jurassic Park, The Lost World. The Lost World Jurassic Park, the second one, Jurassic Park 2. The Lost World remains among the most successful films of all time and features an all-star cast including Jeff Goldblum, Julianne Moore, and Pete Postlethwaite. I'm sorry, Pete, I'm not pronouncing that right. He was the narrator in James and the Giant Peach, and he was also in this. Okay, it has been 4 years since the disaster at Jurassic Park, and two groups are in a race against time that will determine the fate of the remote island's prehistoric inhabitants. So that's a little DVD blurb. Here's my little extra information. So Jurassic Park 1 takes place on Isla Nublar. That's where the park was built. Jurassic Park 2 takes us to Isla Sorna, which was the second location, and it was where they made the dinosaurs and where they were hatched, and then they were brought over to Isla Nublar and put in the park. So the setup is that if you remember Jurassic Park 1, there was the whole lysine contingency, which was basically that the dinosaurs were made without the amino acid lysine. They only got it from the food given to them by the people that ran Jurassic Park, so that if something ever went wrong and a dinosaur got off of the island, it would eventually die due to a lack of lysine in its system. The setup for Jurassic Park 2 is that these dinosaurs that were at the second site on Isla Sorna have gotten out of their enclosures and stuff because there was a hurricane, and they're eating food that's super rich in lysine, so they're surviving. Which the lysine contingency is really cool in theory until you learn that lysine is an essential amino acid, which means that your body doesn't produce it. So you only get it from food. So yeah, the dinosaurs would just eat things that were rich in lysine because that's how you get lysine in the first place. It's not something that your body produces. Jurassic Park 2, the dinosaurs on the second island are living and thriving, and Jeff Goldblum and friends are asked by John Hammond to go document the dinosaurs, but then there's evil corporation InGen that is wanting to capture the dinosaurs and make a new Jurassic Park in San Francisco. And that's kind of the conflict there. I'm sure I just did a terrible job explaining that. Just go watch the film. Anyways, high, low, high. My first high for the film. Okay, I'm telling you now, if you've seen Jurassic Park 2, or if you're in any Jurassic Park online community, what I'm about to say is probably going to get me shadow banned. So Jurassic Park 2 introduces us to the character of Kelly. She is Jeff Goldblum's daughter, and she sneaks on their flight to Jurassic Park. So she's there, and Jeff Goldblum has to be a father. It is set up in the first part of the film that Kelly is a gymnast, but she's cut from the gymnastics team at school. And there's a scene towards the end of the film where Julianne Moore and Kelly and Jeff Goldblum are like trying to escape velociraptors. So Julianne Moore and Kelly are like on a platform in this little building, and Jeff Goldblum has gotten into the building and he's like climbing up onto a ledge, but there's a velociraptor that's after him. And Kelly, there's like a bar through the middle of the room, and Kelly swings onto the bar and does a bunch of gymnastic flips on the bar and then kicks the velociraptor out the window into like metal where it proceeds to die. I love that so much. And then she like lands and she's like, "Dad," and Jeff Goldblum is like, "They cut you from the gymnastics team?" It's great. That's very controversial. A lot of people don't like that. I do. My low for the film is that, here's the thing, I really like found family tropes and just like family tropes in general. I think they're very heartwarming. And in an original cut of the script, apparently, Jeff Goldblum's character was gonna have this whole thing with his daughter Kelly, where like he was going to kind of have to like step up and be a dad. It's very much implied at the beginning of the film that he's kind of an absentee father, or at the very least he's not like super involved in her life. And so he was going to have to go through kind of this character growth of like sacrificing and protecting Kelly and realizing that like she was the most important thing in his life, and that he's, you know, her father and he has to look out for her. And it was going to be this whole character growth thing. And I think it was kind of maybe gonna like have to do with, there's a whole plot line through with like these two parent T-Rexes and their baby, and I think it was maybe going to be connected to that. Anyways, that was cut from the film, so we don't really get to see any character growth from anyone. Like, all the characters pretty much start and end the film in the exact same headspace. So I wish that we had gotten even like a little bit of character development from them, because we don't really get that. Also, this film and subsequently all the other Jurassic Park films and Jurassic World really lean more towards the action than the sci-fi elements. Like, you know, they don't really do with science as much. They're more like, and here's a dinosaur attack, and I don't like that. My second high is, oh my God, at the end of the film, there is a T-Rex loose in San Francisco. It is so funny. The like evil corporation gets a T-Rex on a boat, and then Jeff Goldblum and Julianne Moore like come to the boat as the guy's about to do a press announcement of like, we have dinosaurs, capitalism. And they're like, this is not a good idea. You brought dinosaurs to the mainland. And then they like go to the boat, and yeah, the T-Rex is broken out. And then we have all these scenes of the T-Rex just like walking through San Francisco and like looking into people's houses and wreaking havoc. And the way that they get it back to the boat is that they like use the baby T-Rex to lure the mom T-Rex back to the boat. Anyways, I love it. I love the concept of a T-Rex being loose in San Francisco. It is so funny to me. Also, Jurassic Park 2 has the introduction of the Compies, the Compsognathuses, and I love Compies. They're like my favorite dinosaur, and I think they're so fun, and I love them in the Jurassic Park movie. They're like these little chicken-sized dinosaurs, and they hop around, and like, sure, they're responsible for the deaths of like at least 2 to 3 people, but they did nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong. Next on our list, the third best film is Jurassic Park 3. Okay, Jurassic Park 3, a controversial film in the Jurassic Park community for many reasons. The main one being that we have the Spinosaurus instead of the T-Rex as the main dinosaur. They actually replaced it on like the logo for the film. This is also the first film in the franchise that was not directed by Steven Spielberg. Instead, he was just an executive producer on the film. I'm going to read you the little DVD blurb now for Jurassic Park 3, which does not have a subheader. Like, it is just called Jurassic Park 3. Adventure runs wild when renowned paleontologist Dr. Alan Grant agrees to accompany a wealthy adventurer and his wife on an aerial tour of Isla Sorna, Ingen's former breeding ground for prehistoric creatures. So that intro is a little misleading, but that's because the plot twist is that this couple that are played by the guy from Skins and Fox Mulder's wife are not a wealthy couple going on an adventuring trip. Their son was parasailing near Isla Sorna and like the boat crashed and his like guide cut loose from the thing and like parasail crash landed on Isla Sorna. So they've like tricked Alan Grant to taking them to Isla Sorna so they can find their son. This movie is the shortest in the entire franchise. It's only an hour and a half long, and they used to play this film on Cartoon Network all the time. Like, I can't tell you how many times I remember seeing little like bumper like commercials that were like, and tonight at 7:00, Jurassic World 3. Just like all the time. Like they played it all the time, and the promo video that they always used when they were like talking over and they were like, Jurassic Park 3 was a scene where like a pterodactyl comes and like picks up a child and flies off with it. So this played on Cartoon Network a lot. So great for kids. First high. There is a scene at the beginning of the film where as they're in the helicopter flying to Isla Sorna, Sam Neill falls asleep and he wakes up and the helicopter's deserted and he's looking around and he's panicking and there's a velociraptor on the plane and it looks at him and the velociraptor goes, Alan, and then he wakes up. And it's so funny. It's so funny. I love that scene so much, and it's like never mentioned again. I think it's just to show us that like he's still messed up from what happened at Jurassic Park, that he's still like, I got trauma from these velociraptors, which makes sense, but then it's never really like dealt with later in the film. But that's just a scene that I like in the film. That's a highlight for me. All right, we're going high, low, high. Here's the low. So, at the beginning of the film, we have Sam Neill with a child, and he's like trying to teach him the name of like a dinosaur toy or something. He's like, I don't know, dinosaur name. He's like trying to get the kid to say it, and he's like, you know, like 2, so whatever. It's a scene of him interacting with a child. And then Laura Dern walks up behind him and she's got a baby, and so they're trying to trick you into like, oh my god, Sam Neill and Laura Dern like got together and had kids. But then she's like, my husband will be home soon. They're not his kids. They didn't get together. What the heck? No, instead she's with some businessman and they have 2 kids. And here's the most BS in it. They have dinner. It's Sam Neill and Laura Dern and business husband. And business husband is like, it's nice to finally meet you, Sam Neill. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's BS. You're gonna sit here and you're gonna tell me that after the events of Jurassic Park, where one, it's heavily implied that Dr. Ellie Sattler and Dr. Alan Grant are like, they're dating, or at the very least, like maybe there's not a label on it, but like we all know they're gonna get together. And you have that whole arc where at the beginning Laura Dern is like, kids are great, like especially when they're yours, blah blah blah, and Sam Neill is like, no, I don't like kids. And his whole character growth is him being with Lex and Tim, and at the end there's the scene where he's sitting in the helicopter and Lex and Tim are asleep on his shoulders because they're like, we have lifelong trauma from this weekend, and him and Laura Dern make eye contact and there's an understanding of like, we've both grown and like maybe we'll have kids someday. You're gonna tell me that after the trauma of Jurassic Park and also working together as a paleontologist and paleobotanist, that like they didn't get together? I don't buy it. And then to add injury to insult, business husband, as I said earlier, is like, it's nice to meet you, Sam Neill. Like, they've never met? You're telling me that Laura Dern and Sam Neill didn't stay friends after that? Even at, whatever, sure, maybe their relationship didn't work out in a long time, but they decided to stay friends, obviously, because he's come to visit. Like, they're in the same field, and you've never met? He didn't come to the wedding? This is the first time he's met the kids? Like, it just makes me so angry. They were endgame. And they pulled the rug out from under us. And it's double mean because at the beginning, they set it up like they're together and then they're not. Laura Dern and Sam Neill are both coming back for Jurassic World 3. And my hope is that it'll be established that she divorced her business husband and got with Dr. Alan Grant. Wow, I talked about that for a while. Okay, so that was my high-low. Here's my other high. I have to lay the scene for you. Sam Neill is separated from the rest of the group, and he finds boy child that they came to the island to look for. And he's like, you survived? I thought you died. And the boy child's like, I've been living off the land for 8 weeks, which, like, 8 weeks? I can't suspend my disbelief that this little 10-year-old boy survived on Dinosaur Island alone for 8 weeks. My suspension does not suspend that far. Anyways, he's like, I lived here for 8 weeks. And Sam Neill is like, your parents are here looking for you. And boy child is like, my parents, but they hate each other because they're divorced. Divorce is a running theme in Jurassic Park now that I think about it. I'll talk about that in a minute. And so Sam Neill is like, yeah, we got to find the rest of our group. Your parents and my intern, and then us. Like, those are the people on the island. And they get ready to leave this, like, place where boy child has been staying. And he hears a cell phone ringing. And he's like, I know that cell phone. That's my dad's cell phone. It's his. Like, I know that ringtone. And so they, like, run out of the forest they're in, and they see their group of boy child's parents, played by Man from Shameless and Fox Mulder's wife, and then intern of Dr. Grant, who I think his name's Billy. And they're running, and boy child is like, Mom, Dad, and they get to a fence, and they're like hugging through the fence, and they're like, oh my God, our child's not dead. How did you find us? How did you know we were here? And boy child is like, your phone, I heard it ringing. I recognized the ringtone. And guy from Shameless is like, Shameless or Skins? Guy from either Shameless or Skins, I don't know, I haven't watched either show, is like, my phone? I don't have my phone on me. And they're like, well, where's your phone? And he's like, I gave it to extra that I can't remember the name of that was on the plane with us, that was on the helicopter that took us to this island. And earlier in the film, that guy got eaten by the Spinosaurus. And so they're like, wait a second. And they turn, and the Spinosaurus is just standing there with, like, the ringtone going off because it's in his stomach because he ate that guy. And then they have to run away from the Spinosaurus. Anyways, that's a great scene. One of the top 10 scenes in cinematic history. That's what the ringtone sounds like. And it's just that, and there's a Spinosaurus there. And those were my thoughts on Jurassic Park 3. Now we technically get to a separate franchise, Jurassic World. Oh boy. Remember that thing I said earlier where I was like, after Jurassic Park, the movies are really more like action films than science fiction films. Nowhere is that more true than with the Jurassic World films, specifically the first Jurassic World. Okay, so for reference, in Jurassic Park, the T-Rex attack, where she, like, comes out of her cage and eats the lawyer and, like, flips over the car, that's at the 1 hour mark. That's like an hour into the film. That's about halfway through. In Jurassic World, it depends on what you want to count as the first action scene. If you want it to be when that guy gets, like, knocked into the raptor exhibit and Chris Pratt is like, stay velociraptors, and, like, pulls the guy under the fence, that's like 20 to 25 minutes into the film. If you want to count the first action scene is when the Indominus Rex, Indominus, the hybrid dinosaur, eats that security guard, that's like 30 to 40 minutes in. So, like, Also, it has a lot more action sequences than the original Jurassic Park did. So this is an action film, unfortunately. Okay, here's the blurb for Jurassic World. Owen and Claire race to restore order at Jurassic World theme park when a ferocious, genetically modified dinosaur escapes. I'm not gonna lie, it might be hard for me to do a high-low high, because I don't know if I have two highs for this film. I don't like this film that much. In part for the reasons I said with it being an action film, in part because, yeah, like they never explain any of the science in it, and in part because I have to watch Bryce Dallas Howard go through some workplace sexual harassment from Chris Pratt. And that's on Colin Trevorrow, because I feel like he's done that in other movies he's written, so that's fun. Instead, I think I'll do low, high, low for this film and the next one. Because we're now all about negativity. No positive thoughts here. Okay, so my first problem. All the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World movies have child character you're supposed to care about. I don't know why. I think it's maybe because they know that like kids do watch these movies, so they're like, we have to have child character that the audience can project on. And I think it's also to give the characters, the adult characters, like something to care about. It like raises the stakes if there's a child that they have to protect. So yeah, all the films have child character. And Jurassic World has the worst children characters. Oh my god, I hate them. I hate them so much. Does that mean they're children? I hate them. Children characters that we have are Boy from Love, Simon, and Boy from Iron Man 3, and they are brothers, and they are Bryce Dallas Howard's nephews. Younger boy child is okay. Little boy from Iron Man 3, he's fine. I actually would like it better if it was maybe just him. I don't know, but he's like really excited to be at Jurassic World. He's like really excited. He's like 10 or 12 and he's like, I love dinosaurs, genetics, like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Look, a hadrosaur. And you know, he's like all over the place. And then we have Love Simon, who's like a 16-year-old teenager boy. And he is like, whatever, I don't want to be at Jurassic World. I'm too cool because I'm an edgy boy teenager. And at first I was like, oh, this is really cool because like maybe it's going to establish this whole thing about like the commodification of dinosaurs, because actually the antagonists of the Jurassic Park franchise, it's not the dinosaurs, it's capitalism. So I was like, okay, it's establishing this whole thing of like, in this day and age, dinosaurs have become so commodified that like, it's not even cool to see them again. Like this kid, he's been to Jurassic World so many times that like seeing a dinosaur in person, it's like going to a zoo or going to an amusement park that you've been to 20 times before. And I was like, maybe it's gonna be this commentary on like, yeah, the commodification of stuff like that. And I was like, that's gonna be a really cool angle. And then they didn't do that. He's just a shitty teenager. Anyways, I don't like them. And this is such a weird thing for them to have in the movie. So there's a point where they are on like a tram, I guess. And Iron Man 3 brother is like, our parents are gonna get a divorce. And Love Simon is like, what makes you say that? And Iron Man 3 is like, mom and dad get mail from two different lawyers. And Love Simon is like, so that doesn't mean anything. And Iron Man 3 is like, I googled them, they're divorce lawyers. And he starts crying. And Love Simon is like, whatever, all of my friends' parents are divorced and I'll be gone in 2 years, so it's fine. And like, that's it. And he's like crying and he's like, stop crying. Like Iron Man 3 kid is crying and Love Simon kid is like, I hate you. I don't know what the point of that is. I don't know what the point of them being like their parents are getting divorced are, especially since like their parents aren't even characters in this film. I don't know why that was a thing. And it's a weird thing to do because like, I get it, divorce is hard on kids, but it's a weird thing to do because one, it's not even like the concept of a child of divorce being in these films is new for a couple of reasons. One, in Jurassic Park 2, Kelly's parents are divorced. Jeff Goldblum isn't with her mom anymore. Like, that's established, and they have joint custody. And 2, in the first Jurassic Park film, when the lawyer like first gets to the island and he's talking to a guy there, he's like, John Hammond should be here. And the guy's like, well, he's not, because his daughter's getting a divorce and he wanted to be there for her. I just thought it was a weird thing for them to have this one scene where they're like, our parents are getting divorced, and then it's never brought up again. When we see the parents at the end, like, they're just there. When we saw the parents at the beginning, it's not like they were fighting or anything. Like, they both got along and drove their kids to the airport to go to Jurassic World. So that was a weird thing for them to have. Anyways, I talked about that for a while, but my point is, I don't like the children in this film. Do I have a high point for Jurassic World? I don't know. I feel like it had some good moments that were like fan service references to the first Jurassic Park film. Like, it had a couple of moments where it was like, oh, that's a nice little cameo. Fun little cameos and nods to the first Jurassic Park. Oh, I also like the pterodactyl attack. Pterodactyl and pterosaur attack. Those dinosaurs, well, they're not technically dinosaurs, but they mess up Katie McGrath. They freaking kill her. But the reason that I think that scene is funny is because, like, the setup for it is that the Indominus Rex is being tracked by a helicopter, and the helicopter crashes into the pterodactyl pterodon aviary and sets them all free. But I love that they're all set free, and the first thing they choose to do is fly miles away to like the Jurassic World main hub and just start attacking people for no reason. That scene also gives us Margarita Guy, which was like a meme for a while, so that's cool that that's where he's from. Okay, other low point, because I have some thoughts. The Indominus Rex. We're Googling. Indominus Rex. And here's the thing, here's the kicker. It's established in the film, Claire's like, the Indominus Rex. And Chris Pratt is like, Indominus Rex? Ha, that's a dumb name, because it is. And she's like, you try to hear a 4-year-old pronounce dinosaur name, basically implying like, we gave it a name that's easy to pronounce for licensing, which makes sense because like they licensed the hell out of Jurassic World. But they're like, we gave it this easy to pronounce name so that children can pronounce it. And here I am, a whole ass 20-year-old unable to pronounce it. I'm just going to keep the wiki page pulled up so that I can look over to the spelling every time I try to say it. The Indominus Rex. So here's the thing. And when I first saw Jurassic World back in theaters in 2015, I think, I had this same thought. Like, in the first Jurassic Park, which is a sci-fi film, they very much establish that, like, we filled in the missing DNA gaps with frog DNA. And then in Jurassic World, they, like, won't tell us what the Indominus Rex is made out of. They, like, won't tell us the DNA. They're like, it's mostly T-Rex. And then later on, Dr. Henry Wu, who I think it's cool that they brought him back for the Jurassic World movies. I think it's interesting that they kind of made him like a villain. That was an interesting choice on their part. But anyways, Dr. Henry Wu is like, oh, it can camouflage because like we use some cuttlefish DNA and it can see thermovision like the predator because we used like snake DNA. Basically, he gives like little bits and pieces of the DNA, and I'm like, interesting choice to use so many different parts of DNA in it. And then the plot twist when they like go to hunt it down and Chris Pratt is there on his motorcycle with his raptors is that part of the DNA in it is raptor, so it can talk to the raptors and gets them to kill a bunch of people, because every Jurassic Park film has to have a scene where velociraptors are hunting and killing people. Because they're clever girls. Lean in, velociraptors. Break that glass ceiling. So yeah, they're like super hesitant to tell us what is in the Indominus Rex because the reason it's like this is that they made it like bigger, badder, stronger, more teeth, sexier. So they're not telling us what's in it. And I was like, that's bull. That's stupid. They should tell us what's in it. So they're like being very coy the whole time about like what exactly is in the Indominus Rex. And it ended up being for that twist reveal that like it has raptor in it. But okay, here's how I thought it was going to go based on the events of the film. So it's established that the Indominus Rex is like violent. Like they originally made 2 and it killed and I think ate the other one when they were babies. Which like right away that should have been a red flag, but okay. And then we have a scene where like they go into the cage, the Indominus Rex exhibit, because there are these scratches on the wall and Chris Pratt is like, could have climbed over the walls, and they like can't get a thermo read on it because it can apparently thermoregulate like that. And so they're like, oh my God, it escaped. And they're in there, and then the Indominus Rex like comes out of nowhere and just like kind of kills for fun. It's like messing with these people. It's like playing mind games with it. It's like really smart. And there's a scene later where Claire and Chris Pratt are like driving through this field that had a bunch of dinosaurs in it, but they're all dead because the Indominus Rex attacked them. But like it didn't eat them. It just killed them for fun. So you have this crazy hybrid dinosaur that they're being really coy about, like, well, we can't tell you what exactly is in it. We're not at liberty to say. And it is like really smart, and it's playing these mind games, and it's killing for fun. And it's kind of like being established that this is an evil dinosaur. Like in the other Jurassic Park movies, I don't think they ever tried to set up, well, maybe with like the third one and a little bit with the second one. I don't think it was ever framed as like the dinosaurs are doing what they're doing because they're evil. It was like they're doing what they're doing because they're animals. Like that was kind of the point, was like they're animals and they're unpredictable, and that's why they're like this. So you have that established in all the films, is like the dinosaurs aren't evil, they're just animals doing what animals do. They're predators, that's what they're gonna do. So now you have the Indominus Rex that's like playing these mind games and super clever and killing for sport, and we don't know what exactly is in it. And I thought the reveal was gonna be that there was human DNA in the Indominus Rex. I thought the twist reveal was going to be that like Henry Wu filled in the genetic code with like some of his own DNA, or like whoever like made the dinosaur used human DNA in it. I thought that that's where this was going, that it was like a human dinosaur hybrid. Wouldn't that have been cool? Wouldn't that have been so much better than what they actually did? Oh my God, that would have been so much better. So I guess my second low is that they didn't do what I expected, and what they did was worse than my idea. Wasn't my idea better? Let me know if you think it's better, so that if I ever meet Colin Trevorrow, I can be like, hey, what's up? Oh boy, now we're on to the worst film in the franchise. Okay, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Jurassic World 2. Here's the little DVD blurb. With a volcano threatening to destroy Isla Nublar, 2 former Jurassic World employees race to save the surviving dinosaurs. So that's actually a little misleading. That is the first hour of the film. The second hour, so in the first half of the film, it's like Claire and Owen are asked to go back to Isla Nublar to rescue some dinosaurs because there's going to be a volcano that if it explodes on the island, or when it explodes, it'll kill all the dinosaurs. So they're like, we have to save the dinosaurs. And this rich millionaire, because it's always like eccentric rich millionaires. Well, I guess if you're a millionaire, you're rich. Anyways, capitalists that are like antagonists. Because as I said earlier, the antagonist of the Jurassic Park movies is capitalism, not dinosaurs. So this evil capitalist is like, he's like, I have an island that we're gonna put the dinosaurs on from the original island. This new island is like a conservation effort. The dinosaurs can live there. It's revealed that actually there is no conservation island for the dinosaurs. Evil millionaire is actually going to sell the dinosaurs as weapons, I guess, to individual buyers and like foreign militaries, which is such a weird thing, because like there's a reason that we don't use animals in warfare anymore. And it's because they're animals and they're unpredictable and like hard to train. So there's a reason we don't do that anymore. It's weird that they're like, we're going to use these dinosaurs as weapons. It makes no sense. Look, this film is the worst one to come out yet, and it's for a reason. A lot of those reasons have to do with plot. So here's the thing. Here's a low for me. The first low is the entire plot. Can I pick that? Let me be more specific. So, beginning of the film, Jeff Goldblum cameos as Dr. Ian Malcolm, and he's like talking to the US government, and he's like on the stand, and he's like, look, we should let the dinosaurs die. Because it's this whole debate, the government's like, should we rescue the dinosaurs on Isla Nublar, or should we just let them die in this fiery explosion? And Dr. Ian Malcolm is like, we should let them die. We should let them die because, like, the dinosaurs had their time, they died, and it's sad, but, like, that's the way the cookie crumbles, baby doll. They should die. These dinosaurs are unpredictable and violent, and I've seen firsthand what they can do, and yeah, we should let them die. And, like, the whole crux of the film is that every other character who's the protagonists of this film, so like we should be rooting for them in theory, is that they're all like, no, we can't let the dinosaurs die. Well, here's the thing. I think they should have let the dinosaurs die. That's my hot take. They should have let them die. So right away, it's like, I don't agree with any of the characters because I'm like, they should have let them die. And here's why. Exactly what Dr. Ian Malcolm said. It sucks. I love dinosaurs, obviously. But, like, yeah, they're dangerous, and, like, they've tried multiple times to do amusement parks with them, and clearly it doesn't work. Also, like, we know how to do it. We know how to clone more dinosaurs. So if we ever were like, let's try this again, we have the means to do it. So from the get-go, I was like, I don't agree with you, protagonist characters. Yeah, so right away I was like, it's gonna be hard for me to get into this film. Okay, my high for the film. I actually do have a high, and I don't have to think about this. There is a scene at the beginning, like Claire goes and finds Owen and is like, hey, Chris Pratt, you should come with us to save the dinosaurs. And he's like, no, we should let them die. And she's like, Blue is on that island. You know, Blue, the velociraptor you raised, she's alive and we can save her. And Chris Pratt is still like, no, like we should let the dinosaurs die. And then there's a scene a little bit later where he's like in his house watching on his computer like old videos of him training Blue from when like she hatched and like imprinted on him, and when he like was training her and the other velociraptors, and it's very sweet. And I wanted that scene in the first Jurassic World. I was watching Jurassic World, and there's a point where like Chris Pratt is trying, like I think it's after the Indominus Rex has like gotten the velociraptors to side with her, and I think Chris Pratt is like, Blue, it's me. And I wanted it to like hard cut to a flashback of like him raising her, and maybe like Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler is playing or something, I don't know. But like I wanted there to be a scene or a flashback of him like with the baby velociraptors, with Blue as a baby. And then they did that in Jurassic World too, and I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. So I was very hyped for that. And I think that might have been the only point in the entire film that I felt joy. And now my second low, and by default, the worst part in the entire Jurassic Park, Jurassic World franchise. All right, low point for the entire franchise. Here's some exposition. Okay, as I said earlier, all the Jurassic Park, Jurassic World movies have child character you're supposed to care about. In Jurassic World 2, it's this little girl, and she's British, and her character's name is Maisie, I think. Yeah. And it is established that she is the granddaughter of Woodlock. I don't remember his first name, but he's this eccentric millionaire who was a business partner with John Hammond, and then him and Hammond had a falling out. Yeah, like that's who he is. That's why we haven't seen him in any of the other films, because they had a falling out. He's not even that important. He dies. But Maisie is his granddaughter, so we're told. It's later revealed, and the twist for this movie, because the Jurassic World movies all have plot twists, the twist for this movie is that she's actually not Lockwood's granddaughter. She is a clone of his daughter who died at some point. And that's what the falling out between him and Hammond was about, was that he made a human clone, and Hammond was like, that's rough, buddy, you shouldn't have done that. You know, there are a lot of ethical dilemmas with cloning. Sound off in the comments what your opinions about the ethical dilemmas of cloning are. Okay, so like the last scene-ish, like the last conflict of the film is that you have a poison gas that's released into this big mansion where they've been keeping all the dinosaurs that they took off of the island. And there's a failure of the ventilation system, so the poison gas air is going to leak into the holding cell where they are keeping all of the dinosaurs. And you have all the characters that have been introduced in this film that are good guys in this like observation room. You've got Chris Pratt, you've got Claire, you've got dinosaur veterinarian that I didn't care for, you've got Tim from Detective Pikachu, and you have Maisie. And they're going back and forth because there's like this big garage door at the end of the hall, and if they hit a button, it'll open and the dinosaurs will be able to get out and therefore will not die from the poisonous gas. Or they can leave the door closed and the dinosaurs will all die from the poisonous gas. And it's up to the characters to decide if they're going to do it. So it's like the conflict of the entire movie applied in real life, and the protagonists are the ones having to make the choice. You know, you can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk? The idea of the dinosaurs, should they be kept alive or should they die? They should die. So, you know, they're all like, should we do it? No, we should do it. No, we shouldn't do it. And Claire is like about to hit the button, and then she's like, I can't do it. And they're all like looking at the dinosaurs who are about to die from this poisonous gas. And then the garage door opens and they turn, and Maisie has pressed the button to let the dinosaurs out. And she's like, the dinosaurs are like me. We're both clowns. And I'm like, not really. Like, there's a difference between a person and a dinosaur. So the door opens and the dinosaurs all get out. And like, we're not on an island. We're like in a manor on the mainland. So the dinosaurs all get out. And my first thought was like, literally every Jurassic Park film, someone is killed by a dinosaur. Like, all of these characters that are in this room have either watched someone be killed by a dinosaur or have themselves almost been killed by a dinosaur. So like, they have firsthand experience, and they're still like, yeah, release them into the wild. And then it like hard cuts to a man proceeding to be killed by a dinosaur. Like, the dinosaurs are an invasive species. They're dangerous. Like, we could barely contain them when they were on an island, and now they're just released. It's framed as a good thing. Like, little British girl is like, we can't let the dinosaurs die. And then like, the music is very triumphant and like, yeah, the dinosaurs get to live. And all of the supporting cast like are like, wow, the dinosaurs get to live. And I'm like, the dinosaurs are about to kill so many people and animals and shit. Like, not to be like animal rights, but like, the animals in an ecosystem are important. And I can tell you, like, the pterodons are definitely going to be eating the sparrows and screwing up the ecosystem. So then we have a closing monologue from Jeff Goldblum, who is like, now it's the dinosaurs world, now it's Jurassic World, and I think there's a shot of Blue the Velociraptor and she screams or something. But like, oh my god, so many people are gonna die. And I think that that's the setup for the next film. That's coming out next year, I think. It's called Jurassic World Dominion. I think the premise of it is going to be like, now there are dinosaurs just like in the world. So yeah, I could probably talk more about how much I dislike the ending of Jurassic World 2, but I won't do that because I think I would pop a blood vessel. So yeah, those are my thoughts about the Jurassic World, Jurassic Park franchise. I recommend you watch all of them just so that you can say, like, yes, I've seen all those movies. But if you're like, I'm not going to watch all those movies, just watch the first one. Just watch Jurassic Park. Oh, if you want a secret bonus, there is a Jurassic Park. Well, okay, so there's actually at the Universal Studios parks around the world a Jurassic Park ride. It's a water ride. Except now at Universal Studios Hollywood, it's a Jurassic World ride, but I'm not going to talk about it. And let's just say the on-ride video of the now defunct Jurassic Park ride at Universal Studios Hollywood ranks second in this list for most enjoyable Jurassic Park content. It ranks second. The ride is technically based on the book Jurassic Park because in the book Jurassic Park, there is a part in the book where when Dr. Alan Grant and Lex and Tim are trying to like get back to the main hub of the park, they ride like an inflated boat down the river and they have to like escape dinosaurs, I think, that are like on the river beds and like on the sides of the river. And this ride is a water ride specifically because of that. It is inspired by that scene and some other scenes from the book. So yeah, the official ranking goes Jurassic Park the Ride, Jurassic Park 2, Jurassic Park 3, Jurassic World 2. For Halloween this year, I was a Jurassic Park tourist who doesn't know their vacation is about to be ruined. That's what I did for Halloween. Except because of COVID, I didn't like go to a Halloween party or go anywhere. So I just dressed up for myself and I guess for Instagram. And then I just like ate chili and watched YouTube videos about the different Jurassic Park things that have been at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios. Like, that's how I spent my Halloween. I'll put a playlist in the description of my favorite Jurassic Park scenes. That'll be fun. I'll do that. And it'll be in order. It'll be in order of the films. That's my little gift to you.